Hello, it's Carrie here from the Female Entrepreneur Association, and welcome to another weekly dose of inspiration to build a successful business. So this week I am so excited because we are joined by the amazing Jessica Ray, who is a graphic designer turned entrepreneur, and she is going to be sharing 5 tips plus a bonus tip on what you need to do on your website to capture the attention of your visitors, to then let them know that they are in fact in the right place, and then to show them how you can help them. So Jessica, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh yeah, I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you for having me on.
I'm so excited about this, and I think the reason I am excited is because every entrepreneur and business owner has a website, and we all know that we have literally a few seconds to impress our visitors and to make them think, hey, I want to hang out on this website for a bit longer and get to know this person. But I think the huge problem is that so many of us are just winging it when it comes to our websites. We don't really have a clue where things should go, how things should be, and we don't really know how to make our websites effective and to see the results. And maybe it's just that we know that we've spent ages putting this website together and we put it out there, and then we just know it's not really performing the way we want it to perform. So I'm really hoping, I know that the tips you're going to share are going to help people to really turn this around and to develop a website that is really effective. So I cannot wait for this. So let's just jump straight into your amazing tips.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you're right on. I think that there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there that probably piece together their website without the help of a graphic designer because it's so simple to do. I mean, if you've got WordPress and all, there's so many great themes out there. But the thing is that they forget to kind of plan things out ahead of time. So these 5 tips are going to be great for anybody who either already has a website or somebody who's planning to revamp their website or even just doesn't have a website yet. So great tips, and they're so basic for anybody. So tip number 1 is be clear about what you do or what you have to offer. So like you said, there's only a couple seconds that you have when somebody lands on your website for you to communicate exactly what you are offering. And the one question that you need to answer is, what's in it for me? Right? So your audience is coming to your website and they're saying, what is here for me? What do you have for me? And you need to answer that question. And if you're not answering that question, then they're going to start kind of looking around, and they're going to, they're going to kind of make their own way around your website. And usually what that means is they're going to click off your website because they don't find what they're looking for. So in order to keep them around, you need to answer that one question.
That is a good point. I think a lot of people do forget to do that. And forget, because you're always thinking about things from your own perspective, and you obviously know what you do 100%, and then you often forget that everyone else going to the website doesn't have a clue what you do.
Exactly, yeah. And I think too, a lot of times it stems from really not knowing who your audience is, especially at first when you start your business. A lot of things are experimental.
Yeah.
Right? So we're sort of guessing a lot about, who your audience is, what you are offering is you've got an idea, but maybe not quite. So a good tip to do this is to make sure that your messaging is right on. Is if you actually do have a small audience, or grab some friends, get 20 or so people to visit your site and actually just ask them one question: what is it that I do?
Yeah,
right?
That is really good.
What would you do on a website? And then have them email you back. And actually, there's a lot of services out there that will do this for you, and you can get people on, Odesk or Fiverr.com or whatever to do this for you too, just to get random first impressions of your website. So number 2 is direct them where you want to go. So a lot of people use their website they think of it as like a library of sorts, where they put all of this information onto what if somebody wants to know this, and what if somebody wants to know that? And really, your website should be a sales tool for you. It's not a library of information. It's a way of getting people from, learning about you from the first time that they come to actually making a buying decision. So you need to decide what is the one thing that you want people to do when they come to your website. And whether that is signing up for your mailing list, or buying, if you're an e-commerce site, buying a product from you. It doesn't matter whether you're a service professional, and you're selling services on your website, or you're selling, e-books or digital products. Everybody needs to know what is the one thing that you want them to do when you come to your website.
Okay.
So Sorry. So, so the ways to do this, right, are that you need to have minimal navigation, right? So don't give them 20 different places to click on the website. Give them one thing to click on, and your calls to action, such as buttons and things like that, should be a completely different color than the rest of your site. They should stand out in color, in size, and in style to the rest of everything else on the page.
Amazing. They're really good points. And I think sometimes a lot of us have had misinformation as to what we should have on our website, and in terms of like putting everything on there, especially with like navigation stuff, and that real tip about the buttons that you're going to make people click on to be a different color to stand out. I remember I once had a sales page and everyone kept saying, how do I sign up? How do I sign up? How do I sign up? And I was like, it's really obvious. It's like, click here. They're like, well, I can't see it because it doesn't stand out. And it was because it wasn't like, I don't even think it was a button. I think it was like a little bar. And it really made me realize actually the importance of the graphics that you're using on your website to capture the attention of the people so they can see what they actually have to do, because something that's obvious to you because you're creating it is just not obvious to anyone else. Yeah. So I love that.
Yeah. Tip. Yeah. Well, and people don't actually read websites like they do a book, right? They go and they scan. And one of the shape or the eye, the pattern that the eye follows is actually the shape of an F. So they are actually going to go up, down, over, just like the shape of a capital F. Okay. That's how they read your website, which is why navigation is usually on the top or along the left side, if that makes sense.
I see.
Yeah, there's a reason for all of this stuff, right?
How interesting. I'm loving this. Okay, so what's tip number 3?
So tip number 3 is who are your visitors and where are they coming from? So a lot of people put emphasis on their homepage as the place where people are going to land on their website, which is great because that is where a lot of people are going to land on your website. However, if you're sharing things on social media or through a podcast or something like that, then people are coming to your website and maybe not landing on your homepage for the first time. So they still need to know what you want them to do on your website, and they still need to know, if they want to know more, who is this person and what do they do. So that's where you can use calls to action on the bottom of your posts to say, if you want people to to sign up for your email list, then after they're done reading your blog and they love what you have to say, give them an opportunity to then get onto your mailing list. And at the top or along the side, put who you are and if you want to hear more or something like that. Give them those opportunities to go where they want to go, but also keeping in mind that one thing from tip number 2, that where you want them to go.
Yeah, I found that works really well for me as well. Every time I write a blog post, I always put a subscribe image at the bottom of the post for people that have been interested but aren't subscribers. And then I've tested all sorts of stuff to putting like subscribe things at the top of the article, which I find works really well, but I'm not very consistent with it because I forget to do it. And then obviously like all the different like pop-up things for the people that come for the first time to the website to check it out. I find at first I was worried it was going to be just so annoying for people, but the impact that it had on the number of people that subscribed was unbelievable. And it made me realize actually that there's so many new people coming and landing on an internal page of the website, like a blog post, who are then really interested in everything and are genuinely want to find out more and want to become a subscriber. And before, I wasn't even giving them the opportunity to do that. So I love that. And I think it is something that a lot of people do forget to do.
Yeah. So 2 tools that you can use to kind of gain some insight into this. One is SumoMe.com.
Have you heard?
I love SumoMe. These are tools by Noah Kagan, and he has one of the tools in there is a heat map where you can actually put together a campaign and see where people are clicking on your website. So this will tell you, what is most popular on the page, how far down the page people, are getting, where they're opting in on their site, where they're going to your pages. So that's a really great tool to see how much action people are getting or you're getting on your pages. Another tool, obviously Google Analytics, and if you're using WordPress, Jetpack will also tell you what your more popular posts are. So using those two in conjunction, you can actually find out what your most popular pages are, make sure that there are opt-ins on those pages, right? And then find out where people are clicking on those pages from when they land there, and then they go elsewhere on your site.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Such important things to do. I think it's so crucial to figure that stuff out. Otherwise you're like blind. You don't know what on earth is going on. So it's like, how can you really improve it if you've really got no clue as to how effective it actually is or where people are clicking? So I love that.
Yeah. And one more thing, as far as where people are coming from and how they're landing on your site, so many of us are using social media to drive traffic to our websites. However, we're not thinking about mobile traffic. So 70% of all traffic to social media sites is on mobile devices. So if you're using social media as your primary means of driving traffic to your blog, you've got a ton of mobile traffic. So you need to make sure that the plugins that you're using and the opt-in forms that you're using are mobile friendly.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I was really shocked when I realized that with Facebook ads, for example, that the majority of the people were from mobile devices. And I was like, whoa, it got a much better response and a much better click-through rate and all that stuff. But it was really interesting because I was like, I need to go and have a look on a mobile phone and see what my website actually looks like from a mobile.
Absolutely. And responsive, what most sites are responsive now. And what's cool about it is if there's any feature that doesn't look good on a mobile device where it looks great on a desktop, you can just, with a few lines of code, you can program it to look great on a mobile device.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. So I can't remember what tip we're on now, but I think we're on tip 4.
Number 4. Number 4. Less is more. So remember how I told you that people don't read websites like a book, they scan them.
Yeah.
So this is where having images and visual cues is really, really important on your website. So you want to make sure that every blog post that you have includes images. You want to make sure that you're including, featured images for your blog posts. And you want to make sure that the imagery that you're using goes along with your branding. So I'm going to use service providers as an example, because when, let's say you're a copywriter or a coach or something, people don't do business with your website, they do business with you. So they want to know who you are and what they can expect, like personality-wise, when they come to your site. So it's really, really important that you have a picture of yourself on your website. Even if you're an attorney or, an accountant or something like that, you still need to have a picture. You still need to have something that says, here's who you're going to be doing business with. So less words, more photos, more visuals.
I really like that. And that point about images on blogs, I last year started to do images that went at the top of the blog post, but they were Pinterest size. So they were kind of like long, like thin ones. And I found that having those there and then having a plugin, which is like, I need to change it, but it's like one that pops up when you hover over it where you can pin it.
Oh yeah, like the pin it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it really increased the number of pins, the number of people that were actually pinning graphics because it was formatted for Pinterest, which is then subsequently has really increased, I say really increased my following. I think it's up to like 2,000, but I wasn't doing anything on it before. And then having checked analytics, it's driving traffic back to the website. So actually it's really beneficial. And I noticed a huge difference that having just that graphic in the top of the post that was sized for Pinterest, that made such a difference to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you can use tools like canva.com.
Yeah.
They have Pinterest templates that you can use to make sure that your graphics are fitting the format of Pinterest. And they have the same thing for Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. So that's a great free tool for people to use and make sure that their images are the right size and looking great.
Yeah. So what is your final tip, which I'm very excited to hear about because all your tips have been amazing.
Okay. My fifth tip is to sketch it out first. So no matter whether you are you already have a website and you're thinking about, now you've heard these tips and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go change my website right now, or you don't have a website and you're doing it for the first time, sketch it out first. And it can be really rough. I mean, literally, I've been doing this for umpteen million years now, and I still sketch hand and paper with my clients because it's the easiest and fastest way for me to do it. And so what this means is that you need to kind of understand where people are landing on your site, where you want them to go, and kind of just sketch it out first. Sketch out where you want your buttons to go, where, and make sure that all of the components are there so that when you go into your website and you start doing this, whether you're doing it or whether you're working with a graphic designer or developer, that you know what the plan is, because otherwise you're just kind of willy-nilly doing it, and it's not going to make much sense.
Yeah.
Once you tell the story.
I think that's a really good idea, because I think it's so easy to get caught up with everything in your head and to get so confused with it all. So I think I do actually love getting a pen and a piece of paper and drawing things out or writing stuff out and just seeing how I want something to be.
Yeah.
So did you say you have a bonus tip as well?
I have a little bonus tip, and this is a bonus tip that I tell everybody, and it has nothing to do with design, but it has everything to do with being a good online entrepreneur, and that is to back up your site, back up your site, back up your site.
I love that.
I can't tell you how many people have come to me. I design a site for them and I say, here's, I give 2 tips on how to back up your website. One is using BackWP Up. It's a free plugin that you can back up using Dropbox if you've got it, which I do. That's how I back up my website. Or you can use VaultPress, which is $5 a month. It's by the makers of WordPress. So if you've got a WordPress site, I really suggest either one of those 2. And it'll save you so much time and energy and peace of mind, because stuff happens.
Yeah.
So back up your site, back up your site, back up your site.
I love that bonus tip, but it's so true, because stuff really does happen, and then, oh my gosh, when that happens, it is a disaster.
And people call me. They're like, "Can you restore the site?" And I'm like, from a year ago when we first designed it, I can, but not all the content that you've posted in the years since then. And it just breaks my heart. So don't do it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Don't be website without backing it up.
Thank you so much for all those tips. They were all so amazing. I think what I will do is take your amazing tips and put them down so that people can actually work their way through them and implement them, because I just feel like every single one of them is so unbelievably important in terms of developing a website that is effective. And so hopefully for everyone watching, make sure you implement these tips. So thank you so much for doing that. And I know, so also for everyone watching, me and Jessica are going to be doing a hangout where we're going to be picking some people's websites to do a review on. Well, Jessica's doing the review. And we're just going to come together and just have a hangout so we can talk about this stuff in more detail, but also through sharing examples and giving suggestions. So if you would like Jessica to review your website, are we just going to do the homepage, aren't we?
Yeah, I think because it takes me about an hour and a half to go through a full website. So I think we're just doing one page. So if it's a landing page that you want or a home page, either way, just put the full URL of whatever page you want.
Okay, yeah. So if you would like Jessica to have a look at your website or just a specific page, then leave a comment below and let us know, and then leave the link to that page so we can check it out. And we'll be picking some of the people that leave comments, and we'll be getting in touch with you to let you know so that you can join us on the hangout, and so that Jessica can give you feedback on that page of your website, which is very exciting. I'm really excited about this because it is such a huge topic, and it will also be a chance for you to ask Jessica your questions too, any questions that you have as you've been watching this. But thank you so much again for sharing your amazing tips. They really are brilliant, and I really hope they do help everyone that has watched, so thank you so much.
Oh yeah, I hope they help too. Thank you for having me. It's great.
Oh, you're welcome. But I hope you've enjoyed this as well. I hope it's inspired you. If you have enjoyed this video but you are not a subscriber, then make sure you subscribe over on the blog, and we'll send you an email every Tuesday with a new video in and some more goodies. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you next week for another dose of inspiration.